Peter, great. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Peter May, and I'm a recent graduate from the University of Evansville, which is located in Evansville, Indiana. At the University of Evansville, I studied political science and business administration while also competing as a member of the Purple Aces men's soccer team. I'm going to start by saying what an honor it is to be invited to this event and how humbling it is to be speaking in front of you guys. For that, I'd like to thank the NACNU, Nancy and Michelle. You guys have done so much, and I really appreciate it. And I'd also like to thank the University of Evansville. Again, it's such an honor to be able to represent my alma mater here and to share with you a little bit why attending the University of Evansville has been one of the most impactful decisions of my young life. I grew up around college. My family moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky when I was just 3 years old because my father had taken a job as a geology professor at Western Kentucky University. I saw and heard about the daily functions of a state school of over 20,000 students, and I can't tell you how much I fell in love with that. 15 years after moving to Bowling Green, I graduated from Bowling Green High School. My father was still a professor at that same university, and almost all of my childhood friends were going to the school that I had come to so love. I was one of the few who did not, choosing instead to take the 2-hour journey up the Natcher Parkway to attend a small liberal arts school of just over 2,000 students. At that time, I was going to the University of Evansville for one thing, to play Division I soccer. What I didn't realize was that I was in for so much more. It wasn't until the completion of a semester-long project for a local company in my senior year that I realized how different my college experience had been from all of my buddies that attended Western Kentucky and other large state universities. This project that I speak of was a culmination of every aspect of the liberal arts experience put into one, which is why I was finally able to pull together all of the experiences I had had to that point. I will try and unpack this for you by looking at 3 separate themes, all of which will prove to be connected in the end of this talk. Hopefully I can paint the picture of my aha moment for you all. The first theme is that of opportunity. My opportunity came in the form of the University of Evansville's GAP program. To participate in the program, you must apply or be nominated by a professor. From there, you are put on a team that you'll work with for the entirety of the semester. Now, this sounds like a pretty normal honors type project, but what is unique about GAP is that anyone from any major can be nominated or can apply to be in the program. Each team is then paired with a company and is expected to provide value on a project that the company defines. Again, this sounds like a pretty normal type of group project, but this is where GAP really sets itself apart. The value provided for the company comes from the teams acting as hired consultants by the company. That's to say, the teams are given little more than a task with no guidelines other than what should be included in their presentation at the end of the semester. And then they get to work. My GAP team was made up of 5 members: an archaeology major, a sports communications major, a graphic design major, an accounting major who is also Indonesian, and myself, a political science and business major. We were paired with Fortune 500 manufacturer Berry Plastics, which is one of the world's largest producers of plastics packaging, whose headquarters are conveniently located in Evansville. Berry requested us to conduct an analysis of the Indonesian consumer packaged goods market and provide them with a recommendation as to whether they could penetrate that market successfully. From there, we got to work. This is pretty vague, but that's the extent to which I can discuss this because we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with Berry Plastics. I wish I could tell you a little bit more, but what I can tell you is that the project was full of challenges and headaches, and we found ourselves spending double the amount of time on GAP than we were on the rest of our schoolwork. That effort was well worth it in the end. At the end of the semester, we presented our report in a boardroom to top company executives who used our research strategy in the formulation of their actual corporate level strategy, which was awesome to hear, and it really made you feel great about the work that you put in. That's when I realized that through this opportunity that I was provided from my own hard work and the help of others, that I could make a global impact. Few of my buddies at other schools had been afforded an opportunity at the undergraduate level. Now, as my team researched, we were met with obstacle after obstacle all semester long. We did have the help of 2 research employees at Berry and our project leader, but for the most part, they could only guide us because, like I said, it was our work and it was our research. All the various areas of study and different backgrounds allowed us to leverage diverse skills to help one another through these tough times. Originally, I thought, how in the world is an archaeology major going to be able to help me in this business project? This is where we can see the second theme, the importance of building diverse relationships. Because without the culmination of different perspectives, our team would have been totally stuck. On this multidisciplinary team, we could not only delegate responsibilities, but also ensure that all biases were accounted for when we met as a group. The relationships built through considering and interpreting different perspectives turned a group of strangers into a team where everyone had value. This is when I understood why I had to take those seemingly useless general education classes and how I could use those insights gained to help me in my future. The liberal arts education system teaches us how to create relationships with others by considering and learning from the brilliance and the difference of perspectives. That's what the so-called real world is, I think. It's about establishing relationships with people, learning from one another's experiences, and working together to meet a common goal. The first step to that is accepting the benefit that can be provided from a unique perspective. As can be seen by many current issues, both domestic and abroad, narrow-mindedness can be a very dangerous thing. Learning to take time to consider and break down differences and eliminate misperceptions can do so much good on so many levels, whether it be at my university, in a conference room at Berry Plastics, or in our everyday lives. My liberal arts background helped turn this theme from a thought process into a habit. All people have something to give to you if you're willing to listen. And the third theme, which I think is the most important, ambiguity, we will see everything tied together. The ambiguity of our opportunity is what established the grounds for the fostering of diverse relationships and success of our group. I found this to be a common theme over my time at the University of Evansville. It just took this project to bring that to light. The project did this because there was no syllabus explicitly telling us when to have assignments done by. When we got to a checkpoint, we had to dig back in. I have experienced this in a couple of my summer internships as well, and my bosses were always very happy with my ability to look for the next step once I finished one. This is a skill that I believe is easily transferable to any career down the road. Ambiguity can be an extremely frustrating thing, and it most certainly was during the project. But the thing that I've come to appreciate about ambiguity is that it inspires us to be curious in so many different ways. The ambiguity of the project forced us to be curious about one another, which helped build relationships that were so important to the success of our team. That is how we were able to identify each person's role in the group. The lack of guidance forced us to be curious about the plastics industry, which isn't that exciting. It forced us to be interested in the culture of Indonesia, and all of that curiosity made us care about what we were doing. Ambiguity no longer scares me. I now see it as an opportunity to build relationships and to learn. Whether it is working on a project or going to a country that you have never been to before, it enables you to be curious and it forces you out of your comfort zone. I was able to pick my path through college. Sure, I had to meet some general education guidelines, but for the most part, I was able to take those classes because I was interested in the subject matter. I learned so much more because of this. I was able to interact and build relationships with so many different classmates and professors of different backgrounds, and I realized my appreciation for the arts, and I also developed the ability to interpret things from a variety of perspectives. That, more than anything, is what I've loved about the University of Evansville. And as you hear the rest of my colleagues speak with me today, I think that's pretty common across the spectrum of liberal arts colleges and universities. You are pushed to be curious by the institution, but from there you're able to create your own path. This curiosity that I speak of is so important because from curiosity comes passion. Everyone talks about finding passion, but what they don't realize is that you have to go look for it. This curiosity allows you to become passionate. I never would have thought that I would be passionate about the plastics packaging industry, but boy did I ever become that way. It was a pretty universally accepted concept that passionate people are the most successful in what they do. I think that's the value of a liberal arts education. You are taught how to become passionate through your own curiosity. Thank you.
Your aha moment, Peter, at the University of Evansville reminded me of what a friend of mine, John Wilson, the president of Morehouse College, is fond of saying, quoting Mark Twain, that there are two important dates in your life. There's the day you were born and the day you figure out why. And that apparently came for you at the University education yourself. That's terrific. Peter, question for you. The theme of your remarks in a word is teams. You were motivated to go to college because of a soccer team. You found in your education a lot of emphasis on interaction among students and with faculty in a small college setting. And then, of course, you had the experience through this project that was all about teams. What lessons do you draw from that? Should education be mostly about educating the individual, or should we always be focusing on teams?
Yeah, I think it's important, and thanks for the question. I think it's important that both are addressed. And for me, it's easy to draw back to soccer because I've done so much of it over my life. I've taken a job, I'm moving to Colorado, I'm working with an academy in Colorado for a couple years before I go back to school, a soccer academy. And you know, the importance of the individual is huge to the team. You know, a lot of the time that I spent growing up was working on my own game to be able to give something to the group. And then when you get in that group, the ability to understand what you don't necessarily do well, but your buddy does, is what makes everything. It's the most important thing, I think. And that's easily transferred to the education system, I believe. You know, I think that kids need to be focused on their own education. But when we get to the real world, and like I learned in this project working with Berry Plastics, you're always working with somebody. And if you aren't able to work with somebody, you're going to get fired. You're not going to get the job done. Somebody else is going to beat you. And to be competitive, you have to be able to take the things that you do well and fit them into a group. I think that's the most important thing. Looking forward and to my future and to the future of a lot of other young people. Yeah, excuse me. Similar to Evan, you know, there were many times that I was like, oh, how am I ever going to be able to do this? You know, because the other thing was that we were working for a Fortune 500 company, and you know, we were looking into acquiring a company in Indonesia. And oh my goodness, there's so much that goes into acquiring a company. Like, you have to know everything about the culture and about the market and everything. And so the amount of research that we had to do was astronomical. And so I guess two really oh no moments resonate with me. The first was, you know, we were giving a practice presentation over our research. We had to have a 30 to 40 page report, a corporate report. So we had finished that. And then we were working on the end of our slideshow or presentation. We were Shark Tanked. Jill Griffin, who is amazing, Dr. Kazee, the president of our university who's here, will attest to this, I believe. She runs the Global Institute, or the Institute of Global Enterprise in Indiana, and that's what GAP was under. And so she brought in a Starbucks executive who watched our presentation. And I got through the second sentence, and she was like, that's not good. And we did the whole presentation, and it took us about 2 hours to get through it. And you know, at the end of it, all of us were kind of like, this lady, she doesn't know how hard we've worked on this. She didn't do any of the research. What does she know? And then it took a second, you know, it was our baby, but it took a second for us to step back and look at it and say, okay, well, we're going to use some of this. And we did, and I'm glad that we did that. And I think that's a testament to the liberal arts education system as well, is okay, here's an outside perspective, maybe it means something. So that was one, and taking some of those recommendations really helped us. And I think the last one was, the second one was the night before. Oh my goodness, the night before. It was 4 a.m. before I went to bed. I had a presentation at 8, but you know, I had Gilong was the Indonesian individual. He did a fantastic job throughout the project, did all the finances, was an accounting guy. But I was going through his report, and it just occurred to me, his section of the report, oh no, English is his second language. So I was up very late that night working on every graph and everything else. But with the help of, again, teamwork comes into play again. I had the help of one of the other team members, and she was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, there were definitely some oh no moments, but I think that's it. Oh no, yeah. I think getting through that really shows the resilience and the importance of being able to get through hard times, and we were able to do that. And off of that, I think it's important to mention that something that I've learned while at my time at the University of Evansville is that it's okay to not necessarily know what you're going to do next. You're going to figure it out. It's going to happen, and that's something that I think needs to be. And this can go back to the question before this, is that let the kids know that it's okay to come in and try things and see what you like. For me, I think that a really good way to go about it is reaching out, and I think a lot of the, and obviously resources are important to be able to do that, and a lot of universities are doing a good job of reaching out. But I think reaching out into the communities that you're in, and also reaching out to the businesses that you work with, or the organizations that you work with, doing things like this is very important, because the more that liberal arts universities are seen in the limelight, the more attractive they're going to be, and people can see, oh, they're doing this, I could do that. These kids can see that, and the other thing is that just showing them that, I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty normal kid sitting up here, really. So, and I'm getting to do this. So, show them that. Give them a dream to look forward to, and a normal kid can do some pretty cool stuff through this. And you know, it's just. I think the other thing is that I don't think we've really talked about this. I think that just the social aspect of a liberal arts university is so much fun. It's the more that you can portray that to those kids, the more attractive it's going to be. Yeah. I'm going to kind of echo what Evan said, really, and kind of throw in my experience at the University of Evansville as well. University of Evansville is pretty unique in that we have a very high percentage of international students. I mean, there's a high number of Saudi Arabians, especially, who come over and come in and work in engineering predominantly. But then again, you know, one of the people that I've had a lot of class with is a Syrian fellow, and he's brilliant. I think the social aspect of it is the most important, showing them that their worth at our university is very important. And you know, I think that kind of stems from the University of Evansville. We were ranked the top school for study abroad in the country this year. We have a sister college in England called Harlexton College. Absolutely astounding place. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable in the countryside, in Grantham, England, I believe. Through that, we've kind of been able to reach out and touch the international community, and we see that as they come in. And just getting to know some of those people and showing them that we do respect their perspective is, I think, key. The other aspect of that is, again, I'm going back to soccer here, but soccer is the international game, and as a member of the soccer team, we always reached out to the Brazilians. We always reached out to all of those kids because they were the ones at our games, and they loved it, and they were hooping and hollering and yelling and cheering, and we tried to make them a part of what we had, and I think that really helped them engage get engaged in the university.